Yo, it is Stocks and Bars, the Stock Market Hip Hop Podcast, the only place you'll find finance mixed with hip hop. And you know, today is the Cliff Notes episode. And what we do here is we talk a little bit about our prior episode and then dig a little bit deeper into a related topic. Last episode, we had on the show Brian Shardt. Brian stopped by. Shout out to Brian. Thank you for accepting the invite. And he is co-owner, co-creator of Autopilot investment app. Autopilot.com, all that good stuff. You can find that in any Android, Apple store, whatever. Download the app, check that out. And that is helping you follow politicians trading. So we talked about how politicians trading can help you, how them having access to info is beneficial to you, making investing simpler. We talked about fun stories from their UFC advertisement, all that good stuff. So make sure that you check out both parts of that episode. That is available wherever you find your podcasts. All right, in this one, we're going to actually talk a little bit deeper about something that we talked about on that episode. And we talked about how politicians have access to info. And that right there is somewhat of a privilege that politicians have. So we're going to talk about more privilege. That's a very triggering topic for the fact that when we talk about privilege, we talk about races a lot of times, white privilege, all that stuff. But I want to, go back to the episode where I said I'm getting rid of that. And I would like to expand upon that for the fact that privilege is something that we all share. Let's talk about it. It absolutely exists. No doubt about it, 100%. Privilege is something that exists and we have to acknowledge it. White privilege, black privilege, woman privilege, kid privilege, adult privilege. We all have a set of privileges that we share amongst each other. And we have to talk about this. So let's get into it. They are supposed to be created. And here is why it's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be there to create a benefit. Duh. Privileges exist so we can have a benefit. Now, some may say that it harnesses unfairness. All right, that is the argument that you're going to always hear when it comes to privilege. That's unfair that so-and-so gets access to this. Well, is it? Is it unfair? Because we have our own set of privileges and they're unique to each culture. Is it truly unfair? We all have our own privileges. How is it unfair if we all have access to our own privileges? That's a very good question, and I think each one of us need to answer. So you can go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the comments. Let's talk about that. So truly, is it unfair if we all have our own set? That's the question. Answer that one. So because each culture has their own set of privileges, it's not really unfair in my understanding. But let's go ahead a little bit backwards here and actually define what privilege is. So if you just go to Google real fast or Webster, that's how old I am. We can go to the dictionary. Define privilege, right? Let's define privilege. Privilege, a special advantage or right possessed by an individual or group. That is the simplistic explanation of what a privilege is. So based upon that definition, I would like you to identify what privilege you have. I am a black male. There are privileges that I have. I'm a black adult male. There are privileges I have over my children. Because I am black, there's some privileges that I may have over other cultures. Because I am a male, there are privileges I have over a woman or a child. There are a lot of different levels that we can actually identify what privileges we have. And that's fine. We're supposed to have it. There are benefits to that as well as disadvantages for each one. We are talking about the privilege side of things, though. I want everybody to understand privileges are there for a reason, and we are supposed to benefit when you reach a certain status. That is something that is supposed to happen. So as we simplify this even further, when we look at the word privilege, let's get nerdy. Right? I took Latin for quite a few years, and I understand the etymology of this. Privilege. Actually, two words that we can split up into this, right? Privis, or privus, because they didn't pronounce the V in Latin. All right, that means private. So that's private, and then we have leg is going to be lex, which is law. All right, so just very, very basic translation, private law. All right, private law is how it translates roughly in Latin. The problem is, when it comes to privilege, because we have our own ones, how do we share them? Right? We got a lot of things going on in the culture of America right now when it comes to privilege and it comes to access. So how do we share those privileges? Right? How do I share the privilege of me being a male with a woman? How do I share that privilege of me being an adult with my children? How do I share the privilege of me being black with anybody else? Let's think about that too. Answer that. How do you share that? I did see this post on Instagram. It was a very interesting one, right? It was about a professor. And the professor said that he did an experiment. And that experiment was that on the day of the exam, he said that he would give everybody a 95%. He gave it to him as a poll. So the poll consisted of everybody's responses to if the professor should give everybody in a class a 95%. And he said every year he did that no one agreed to give everybody a 95%. And the main reason why that he did not, well, that people agreed to not give everybody a 95% is because the classroom believed that certain individuals don't deserve to get a 95%. That is the sole reason why he has never issued that. Now, the validity of that, we can go fact check all of that. But just based upon that and relating to this podcast, this goes back to privilege. We're so worried about what somebody else has that we don't even acknowledge what we may have, or even accept the fact of being happy for what we have or what somebody else has. And because of that, we block our own blessings a lot of times. All we need to do is simply just be happy about it. That highlights that some cultures are just simply scared of losing its privileges. That's a very good topic. What culture is scared of losing its privileges? We all have our own privileges, and we are scared to share them because we don't want to lose them. Now, in this American culture, right, of privilege, we got attorney-client privilege, husband-wife privilege, and those type of privileges are private. And if you share them, then you just automatically open up the door for litigation of all sorts of things. There's a lot of suing going on, right? This culture is just sue happy sometimes. We need to kill that, by the way. Because of that, we're scared of losing our privileges, so we don't share them. If anything, I want this podcast to spark the conversation that we need to have about these privileges. We're supposed to have them. We are allowed to benefit from them. And because we benefit from them, we should be able to freely share them. The privileges are ours. They're not taking them away. Whatever culture may be scared of the privileges being taken away from them if they share them, they need to understand that sharing is caring. And because you share, it comes back to you. Everybody knows about the law. And that law is the infamous law of karma. Karma is real. Everybody knows it's real. And if you don't know it's real, you're sadly mistaken. Karma is energy. Energy always comes back to you. So when you share, that blessing comes back to you tenfold. And we have to get back to the understanding of that. In conclusion, the message I would like to share with you is let's own our privileges. Let us own our privileges, and in conjunction with that, let's not let others' attitudes of privileges or others' privileges dictate how we live. We should be able to make our own conscious decisions based upon our experiences. Let's let our privileges provide advantages for ourselves, and I encourage you to share them. So that's it for that part of it. The market, let's talk about that, because this is stocks and bars, right? The market right now, we just got into a new year, right? 2025, boom, we're here. We got a new president. All of this good stuff is getting ready to happen. We have been on a launch pad, right? Last year closed plus 20%. Overall, the market, we're talking about the S&P, has been up. I think this year is actually going to be fairly flat. I think 2025 is going to present some opportunities to start buying again. I like what I see on a chart for a pause. This is what I see. All right, S&P has gone and elevated itself. It's hit the price target that I have set on numerous occasions here of 6,000. We've gotten there, and we got a little bit above, and now we're starting to fall flat. I think 2025 is actually going to be a fairly flat year. And for a pick for today, what I like right now is just keeping it simple. And I really like a stock called International Paper. All right, they have a dividend. Stock ticker is IP. I do like the dividend, and because you can get paid just for holding the stock, I like this as just a pause moment. So that's my stock. I like that one. If you don't have access to this in your portfolio and you need to look into something, check it out. Check out what IP offers if you need something in order to help diversify your portfolio. Look a little bit deeper into that. Do your research on it. All right, that's it for this episode of Stocks and Bars. Make sure you check out every other episode. Check me out on YouTube. All you got to do is Google Stocks and Bars. Wincrease Team. I do have 2 channels, so do not get confused about that. Stocks and Hip Hop. I am the only one doing that, so you'll find me everywhere in there. Follow me on Instagram. That is going to be at Wincrease Team. You can find me, if TikTok still exists, you can find me still on there. Wincrease Team as well. Any social media is going to be at Wincrease Team. And if you want to shoot me a message, you can do that as well. All you got to do is hit me at wincrease20@gmail.com. All right, and let's get into what these bars got to offer. Let's go. Yo, Kane, let me put some finance to this beat too. Let's do it. I'm rap's privileged, the rap wizard. The vibe my podcast giving attracts listens. Young black gifted, I craft business. You Google stock market hip hop, the champs listed. Creating empires every episode. We making men higher, every method sold. We making inspire as a weapon sold. This the new ways, old ways is the death of those. Stocks and Bars. Stocks and Bars, the stock market hip hop podcast. The only place you'll find finance mixed with hip hop. Make sure you check out every single episode. Peace.
I'm young, gifted and black. Stand the way that I live, that's positive. I'm young, and the message I got to give. I'm young, let the man build. I'm young, gifted and black. Stocks and bars, stocks and bars, stocks and bars.